Hi, and welcome to Yoga for Normal People. I am working with some new props today. I actually added a couple of things from our last practice. So, a lot of times in yoga classes, you'll see people suggest using yoga blocks. Well, a good substitute for those are a couple of books. So, weirdly enough, I have two copies of Bill Clinton's My Life. So, I'm going to use those as my yoga blocks today. I'm also going to have a blanket and a belt like we used last time. And today we're going to work on hips. We've all been probably sitting quite a bit, and especially in today's sort of climate where we're stuck at home, it's tough to find a time to sort of stretch and move a little bit. So this practice is designed to make you sweat, make you move a little bit, but also kind of open up those hips, especially since we've been sitting a lot. So the first thing I'd like you to do is, if you're using a blanket or a towel, Gusto is joining us again today. You're just going to take that and fold it up just a little bit to give you just a little bit of height. This is about 2 inches, and just slide it underneath your hips while you find a comfortable seat. And then once you have that comfortable seat, just let your knees drop below your hips, and you can take whichever leg in front to cross. And then just first, we're going to start by centering ourselves. So go ahead and gently close your eyes and slowly start to breathe. Just noticing the sense of your clothing moving on your skin. Noticing the sense of your body settling down onto the floor, onto the mat. Just taking a few breaths here, a few moments to settle into your space. And let the body come into contact with the actual physical space around you. Take a couple more deep breaths. And then we're going to take one deep inhale together. Inhale to fill up, and exhale, let it go. Open your mouth and sigh it out. We'll do that again. Inhale all the way to the top, like you're filling up your entire body, all the way up to the crown of your head. And exhale, let it go to release. One last time. Inhale all the way up to the top of the crown of your head. And exhale, let it go. Gently start to open your eyes, and we're going to start to move a little bit here. So take your hands down next to your hips, fingertips rest on the mat. On your inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. And on your exhale, like you're pushing that energy down back into the floor, just let your hands come down next to your sides. Inhale to lift your arms up and overhead. Exhale, press that energy down. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, sweep up and overhead. And exhale, release. This time, inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. And you're going to take that right hand and drop it behind your hip and twist over towards the right. And take that left hand to the front of your right knee. Take an inhale here to get long. And exhale, gaze back over your shoulder. Take 2 more breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And then on your next inhale, gently lift both arms up and overhead. Come back to center. And exhale, twist to the opposite side. So right hand comes to left knee. Left hand reaches behind your body, fingertips resting on the mat. See if you can keep that length. Try not to collapse around through the shoulders. Just find that length. Inhale to expand. And exhale to twist a little deeper. Maybe gaze back over that left shoulder. Inhale. And exhale. One last time. Inhale to expand. Feel your rib cage fill up the space in your belly. And exhale. Come back to center. So from here, if you're propped up on a blanket or a towel, go ahead and take that out from under you and place it off to the left or right. And before we switch to the next move, we're going to cross our legs in the opposite direction. So it's going to feel a little weird. Make sure that the opposite shin is sitting in front. Right now, we're going to take an inhale and stretch our arms up and overhead. And then exhale and take your fingertips down next to your hips and then slowly walk your right fingertips out towards the right. Bend your elbow, let your elbow rest on the mat, or you can press into the palm, and then inhale. You're going to sweep the arm forward and then up alongside your ear. So stretching into that left side body, allowing the hip to drop. So really thinking about sinking that hip down towards the mat and really reaching. So if you're down on your elbow, that's great. If you're up on your palm, that's also perfect. Take a couple of deep breaths here. And then on your exhale, walk your hands back in front of you and just let your body fold. Take a couple deep breaths. And then gently walk yourself back up. And we're going to switch back to the regular cross so we can do the other side. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. And then exhale, take your fingertips down next to your hips. Walk your left fingertips out towards the left side of your mat. And you can either come to your elbow or stay propped up on your hand, depending on just how open you're feeling across these side body, across the ribs. And then inhale, sweep your arm forward and up over next to your ear like you're reaching off to the side of the room. Fingertips are wide and broad, like you're shining sun out of the palm of your hand. And take a couple of breaths. And then as you breathe, maybe you can come down to your elbow, or maybe you're happy up on your palm. Take an inhale here, and then exhale. And you're going to round forward, walk your fingertips back in front of your shins, and come to let your head move towards the mat. So fingertips can stay tented, or you can come down to palms. Take another inhale, and another exhale. And then inhale and walk your hands back in towards your body and come back up to your seat. We're going to shift around onto all fours. If you have hardwood floor and your knees are bothering you, use your blanket or your towel to pad your knees. So as an example, just keeping it either doubled over or folded flat, however you like it, you can use that to pad your knees. Since I'm working on carpet, I'm actually not going to do that today. And take your books or your blocks and go ahead and place them up at the top of your mat. And we're going to come to all fours. So here, what I'd like you to do is actually take your knees slightly wider, big toes come to touch, and then we're going to just work through a little bit of a modified cat-cow. So on your inhale, you're going to let your belly hang low, let your head go high, let your tail go high. And then exhale, round through the spine, press down into the palms, down into the knees, and let your back come into that curved shape. Inhale, head lifts, tail lifts. Exhale, round. Inhale, head lift, tail lift. And here, as you're in this cow position, draw your palms back towards your knees so that your heart shifts slightly forward. You'll feel a slight stretch into the low back. And then exhale, round. And here, really press down into the palms. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, head lifts, tail lifts. And exhale to round. From here, go ahead and shift your hips back. Let your butt fall towards your heels and take your forehead down onto the mat. We're coming into a wide-legged child's pose just for a moment before we start to move. Take a couple breaths. And then when you're ready, go ahead and shift forward. Draw your knees together under your hips. And just for a moment, we're going to take a little bit of a belly engagement. So if you'd like, you can tuck your toes and face them down towards the mat, or you can stay on the tops of your feet. I prefer to tuck my toes as we go into something I tend to call beast mode. So what you're going to do is press down into your toes. Just hover your knees. Draw your belly button towards your spine. Take a couple deep breaths. And then when you're ready, go ahead and press your hips up and back. And come into that first down dog of class. Drop your heels, pedal out your knees left and right. Come up on your toes, and then on your next exhale, go ahead, bend your knees, look between your hands, and just take a walk up to the top of your mat. Now, if you need to adjust where your blocks are, or in this case, your books. Go ahead and just move them up so that they're easily accessible. And actually, let's put them in front of our feet. So you have a little bit of lift of the floor coming up towards you. You can take your fingertips to those books, deeply bend your knees, and then inhale, find that lifted head, slightly lifted tail, and exhale, just round through the back. Inhale to find that sort of semi-cow pose, and exhale, round through the back. One last time, inhale, head lifts, tail lifts, and exhale, round. And then inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead, and exhale, hands come down to heart center. We're going to start to move a little bit here. So inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, swan dive down to fold. Fingertips come to those books. Inhale, find that cow pose. So belly is hanging low. I'm keeping my knees deeply bent here. Don't straighten the legs. And exhale, round. Inhale, sweep your arms up, deeply bend your knees, send your hips back. Find your fierce pose or chair pose. Wrap the thighs towards one another. Look down, make sure that you can still see the fronts of your toes here. Really engage the belly drop back towards your spine. And then exhale, come on up to stand. So go ahead and take your blocks off to the left and right if you have space, just so that we can use the top of our mat a little bit more. Inhale to sweep the arms up. Exhale, swan dive down to fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, high plank. Inhale, first one of class, we're going to drop our knees. And then exhale, come down to your belly, untuck your toes. Inhale, wrap your shoulder blades down and back, and lift your chest. And then exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale to come up on your toes. Exhale, look between your hands. Take a couple steps up to the top of your mat. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands down to center. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, swan dive down to fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, hands come down to the mat, step back or jump back, high plank. Inhale, option to take the chaturanga through to the up dog, or drop your knees and meet us in downward dog. So once you come into downward dog, go ahead and take a few moments here. Just allow your body to move in ways that feel good to you. So whether that's pedaling your knees, whether that's even dropping down, sinking your hips back, coming in child's pose for a moment, just finding kind of what feels good for you. Once you've taken that downward dog and done a little movement, on your next inhale, take your right foot to the sky. Lift through the low butt, the back of the hamstring, and then exhale, you're going to bend that right knee, draw it in towards your midline, shift your shoulders over your wrists, and slowly step that foot through. Now, if you have trouble, you can always use your hands to get you there. And then inhale, and you're just going to spin down that back heel. Toes come to about 45 degrees. And on your exhale, come on up. Find your warrior one. Feel the stretch into the front of that left hip flexor. Look down, make sure that your knee is not collapsing in or to the outside of your foot, and that it's largely in line with like your middle toe. Reach your arms up. And then exhale, you're going to spin down, frame that front foot, come back onto the ball of your back foot, step back, and you can move through a vinyasa or just choose to meet us in downward facing dog. Take a couple deep breaths. And really let it go. Next, inhale. Take your left foot to the sky. Really lifting through that low butt. It is a technical term. Back of your hamstring.
And then on your exhale, bend your knee, draw it in towards your midline, shift your shoulders over your wrists, and slowly step that left foot to the top of your mat. Again, if you have trouble, you can always grab hold and just move that foot around. Take an inhale here, and on your exhale, drop that back heel 45 degrees. Inhale to sweep your arms up and overhead. Find that warrior. Again, see if you can really sense that stretch in the right hip, the one that's extended back. And see if you can bend a little deeper into that front leg. Again, making sure that you're not rolling out or rolling in, that your knee is in line with that middle toe. Inhale here. And then exhale, frame that front foot, step back, high plank. You can choose to drop to your knees, come through, whatever vinyasa you feel like. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in downward facing dog. And then on your next inhale, you're going to take that right foot back up towards the sky. Exhale, draw that right foot back in. Hands come under shoulders. Step that right foot in between your hands at the top of the mat. And this time, you're going to spin that back heel down so that your front heel and your back heel kind of intersect. So really what you're aiming to do is get this front foot into the midline of that back foot. And once you have that strong, solid base, scissor your legs together. So drawing them together with tension. And then inhale to come on up. Find your warrior two. So here, once again, you're feeling that stretch into that front left hip. Reach your fingertips out towards the front and back of your mat. Bend deeply into that front knee. Take an inhale here. And then on your exhale, sweep that front arm up and back. Reach back towards the back of the room. Reverse warrior. Take an inhale here. And then exhale. You're going to spin that right elbow down to rest on top of that right thigh. You can take your left hand to your hip. Take a couple breaths here and really see if you can bend down into that right knee. Make sure again that you're not collapsing in or out. Take an inhale here and an exhale. And then if you like, you can sweep that arm forward and up over next to your ear, reaching both forward with your fingertips, but also grounding down to the outside edge of that back foot. So really extending, creating that same kind of line that we started with when we were seated. Take an inhale here. And then on your exhale, you're going to sweep that arm forward, reaching towards your computer screen or your TV screen, and roll your hands down onto the mat. Rotate toes to come to be parallel so that both toes are facing the long edge of your mat. And then you're going to let your head fall towards the earth. Take an inhale here. And an exhale. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And then inhale, lift up. And now we're going to walk over towards the left, towards what became the back of the mat, and rotate those left toes towards the back of your mat and slightly turn in that right foot. So again, just letting the heels sink to the floor, finding that grounding sense. And then once you have that, you're going to inhale, spin up, find warrior two at the back of your mat. Again, just checking your alignment, make sure that that knee is not collapsing in or rolling out, that you're not sinking too far into it so that your knee juts out in front of your toes. Reach out through fingertips, both front and back. Take an inhale here, and then exhale. You're going to reach up and back. Stretch to that side body. Reverse your warrior. And then you're going to exhale. Bend your left elbow, place it on top of that thigh, palm faced up. And again, you can take that right hand, place it right on your hip if you like. Take an inhale here, and an exhale. You can also, if you like, sweep your arm forward and up overhead so that you're upper arm comes parallel to your ear. Really reaching out towards the fingertips, pressing down into that back foot. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, you're going to sweep that top arm forward, letting it come down to the mat. Slowly walking your fingertips back towards the middle of the long side of your mat. Turn your toes to parallel. Come into that wide-legged forward fold once again. So inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And then inhale, lift up, start to walk your hands back towards your right foot, back to what was the front of your mat. And just come onto the ball of your left foot and come into that high lunge. Step back, high plank. You can flow through a vinyasa if you like, or you can simply meet us in downward facing dog. And then from here, go ahead and drop down to your knees. Come back to all fours. You can untuck your toes and just for a few seconds, just take some circles or sit back in child's pose. Let your body reset. Notice how your hips feel right now. From all fours, what I'd like you to do is sit back on your heels just for a second and adjust your position so that you're facing one of the long edges of your mat. If you need it, your blanket can serve to pad those knees. And we're going to keep that one of those blocks, those books, close to us. And right now, just place it off to your right side of your mat. What I'd like you to do from here is come up to tall kneeling. So stack your hips over your knees, hands come to your hips. And from here, I'm going to have you take your left foot out to the side, toes point towards the back of your mat. So your right foot is behind your right knee. Your left foot is facing towards the back of your mat. So toes are facing towards the back. And then here, just take your hands to your hips and just see how that feels. If you like, you can take your left hand to the inside line of your left knee and just gently press open. So once you've done that, go ahead and come back to center. And then on your inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. And exhale, and you're going to take that right hand down to your block or to the floor or to your book. And you're going to reach through those left fingertips. So as if someone is drawing a line from the tips of your left fingertips down into the tip of your left knee. Take an inhale here. On your next exhale, roll your left shoulder down towards the mat. Walk your fingertips back out in front of you. Take your palms down underneath your shoulders. And then from here, just a little cat-cow. So head lifts, tail lifts. Exhale to round. Inhale, head lifts, tail lifts. Exhale to round. Last time. Inhale. And exhale. And then you can go ahead and take that left knee next to your right. Sit back just for a second. Take your block or your book off to the left side of your mat. And then come back into a tall kneeling position. So here, again, just making sure that your knees are stacked underneath your hips. Inhale to sweep your arms up and overhead. And then exhale, take your hands back down to your hips just to sort of recenter yourself. And from here, you're going to pick up that right leg. Take it so that the toes face towards the back of your mat. Your hips will kind of lift a little bit. You'll feel your pelvis tilt totally good. Make sure you keep your hands on your hips. And just check to make sure, again, that you're not collapsing in or rolling out. Lift your chest. And when you're ready, on your exhale, you can take that left hand down to your block or your book. And inhale, sweep that arm forward and reach it up over your head. So the upper arm comes parallel to your right ear. Reach out through your fingertips. Feel as if you're being extended from fingertips all the way down to the front of the knee. Take a couple inhales and a couple exhales. And then when you're ready, you can start to roll your shoulders more towards the earth, letting your fingertips come down to the floor, walking back in front of your knees. So you're coming into this sort of modified all fours position. And then you're going to inhale, lift your head, lift your tail, and exhale to round. So we're working into the inner groin muscle here, so that line of muscle that runs along from the inner knee into the inner groin. Just allowing a little bit of movement come into the pelvis. It doesn't have to be extreme here, because this is a position that our pelvises don't really move much in. So this is just really small, subtle movement. And then when you're ready, come back to all fours and sit back, and you can just move that book off to the side. We're going to come down onto our sides here. And what I'd like you to do is pretend like you're watching TV. So you're going to take your hand, rest your head in your hand, and see if you can line your hips, your heels, and your shoulder all into one line. So it takes a little bit of balance, it takes a little bit of belly engagement to actually do this, because if your knees are bent, you have all kinds of stability. But if your legs are out long and straight, flexing through the soles of your feet, you'll find that there's a little bit of balance that this requires. From here, what I'd like you to do is bend your left knee and take that left foot in front of your mat. You can take that left hand to the inner thigh. And here, you're just going to gently press that inner thigh away from your shoulder. Just opening up along the outer edge and the inner edge of that thigh. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, you can release. Take your palm down in front of your chest and restack those feet. Once again, taking left hand to rest alongside your thighs, flexing through your feet, extending out through the head and down through the soles of your feet. And then when you're ready, just roll forward, press yourself up, and switch sides. Or you can just simply roll straight over. I'm just going to switch sides so I can see you guys. So once again, support your head like you're watching TV. You can start by just laying down on your side. You can take that right hand and place it down in front of your chest to kind of keep you from rolling forward or rolling back. Just give you a little additional balance. And then once you sort of have the alignment, so shoulders stacked over hips, hips in line with heels, flex through the soles of your feet. Let that right hand come to rest on your thigh, and just take a few breaths here. You may find you wobble. That's totally okay. Takes a little bit of belly engagement. It is a lot harder than it looks. Take an inhale here. And then on your exhale, you can bend that right knee, place it in front of your hip. Take that right hand to the inner thigh of the right leg. And here you can just gently press it away from your shoulder. So you'll roll a little bit onto the outside edge of your right foot. Take a couple breaths. And then on your exhale, you can release. Take those fingertips down in front of the body and stack your feet once again. See if you can find that balance point. Once you've done that pose, go ahead and roll your shoulders more towards the earth. Press down to sit up. So once you come back to sit, what I'd like you to do is take your left foot out to the left side of your mat. Take your right knee, bend it, and place the right foot against the inside line of your left thigh. Reach over and grab your belt. I'm using my leather one from my closet. And I'm just going to loop it around the ball mound of my left foot. And then I'm going to sit up nice and tall. Inhale to sweep the arms up and overhead. The arm that's not holding the belt, obviously. Bend your left elbow and reach through the fingertips out to the side of the room. Really letting that right hip sink down. And if you like, you can walk your hand up closer towards your foot. Or you can eventually just get rid of the belt altogether. Take an inhale. And on your exhale, go ahead and come back up. You can take your fingertips behind your hips and switch sides. So right leg goes out long. Left sole of your foot comes to the inside line of your right leg. Grab your belt or strap. And once again, you can just hook it around the ball of your right foot. Take an inhale here and get long, get tall. And then exhale, bend your right elbow, pull that toe towards your hip and reach through your fingertips, leaning over to the sides. Really making sure that that left hip is sinking down towards the mat. We're not rolling up, we're just letting it sink. And then if you like, you can always adjust your grip on the belt, reach through the fingertips, or you can let go of the belt completely and grab hold of that foot. And then when you're ready, on your next inhale, go ahead and sweep yourself back up. Take both legs out long in front of you. And if you like, just pedal out the knees left and right. And then once you've done that, inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. And exhale to fold, bending your elbows, or optionally, using that strap around those feet to just draw the chest forward. Whatever works for you. And then we're going to inhale and come back up. And turn sideways. You guys can stay as you are. And you're going to walk your feet in underneath your knees. Take your palms, fingertips, either towards the hips or slightly flared out towards the edges of the mat. And you're going to press down into the feet. Lift your hips, lift your chest. Come into reverse tabletop. And then exhale and come back down. From here, pick up your right foot, cross it over your left thigh, flex through the sole of the right foot, and then draw that right knee away from your shoulder. So if this is enough, stay here. If you'd like to try a little bit more, you can go ahead and press down into that left foot, lift up, press out through the outside edge of that right foot, and lift your chest. And then exhale, come back down, and you're going to switch sides. So right foot comes to the floor. Inhale, lift the left foot, cross it over the right thigh, flex the sole of that foot, and then press that right knee away. You can stay here. This is more than enough for a lot of people. If you'd like to go a little further, press down into the sole of your feet, lift your hips, lift your chest, reverse tabletop with a little figure four. Take an inhale, and on your exhale, come back down, uncross that foot, and then take the soles of your feet to touch. Find both those blocks or your books, and you're going to just place those books or blocks underneath each one of your knees. So your book should be big enough to support you and solid enough to support you. So look for something that's of the similar size, and then you can take your hands to your ankles, draw your chest forward, find a nice long back, and let your knees drop down to be supported by those books. Take an inhale here. And then on your exhale, round through the belly, round through the back. Let your chin come to your chest. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. And then go ahead, take your hands to the outside edges of your thighs, close your legs like you're closing the pages of a book, and then walk your feet out just a bit from your hips. You can either choose to grab on behind the thighs, or you can take your hands next to your hips if your back is sore. And here, we're just going to come down slowly. So what I'd like you to do is think about drawing your belly button towards your spine as you round through your back. As you let your body come down, slowly, 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 until you're lying on your back, and then draw your knees into your chest. And here, just give yourself a little massage and roll left to right. If you'd like, you can separate your knees and draw circles on the ceiling. You can go opposite directions, you can go same direction. Just allow the hip sockets to sink back towards the floor, and just move your legs in a way that feels good. And then once you've done that, we're going to have one final thing. What I'd like you to do is take a deep inhale so that you're filling your belly totally up. Keep your hands on your knees. So inhale to fill your belly, And on your exhale, I want you to round in and curl and just tighten everything you can possibly tighten. So tighten everything up. Hands, face, feet, calves, thighs. Keep tight, keep tight, keep tight. And then go ahead and release. Come all the way down onto your back. Take a few deep breaths. Allow your body to settle on the mat. Make any sort of final adjustments you may need. Let your body settle into the earth. And then when you're ready, just gently close your eyes and slowly start to soften your breath. And as you soften your breath, what I'd like you to do is imagine a ball of light resting in your pelvic bowl. So that space, that spot, right, your low belly. And imagine that light expanding with every inhale and compressing with every exhale. And with every expansion, imagine it softening your hips, releasing any tension. Imagine it breathing with you and bringing warmth and comfort and softness into your body. Allow your breath to ease and soften. Feel the weight of your body as it rests down on the mat. Feel the places where you touch the earth and where the earth reaches up to support you. Allow your body to be held in this moment, in this softness. Feel the sweetness and the softness of your breath. Continue to imagine that light expanding and contracting with every inhale and every exhale. And maybe as you breathe, it gets bigger and bigger and floods your body with light. Touches places where you didn't realize you might be holding tension or anxiety. Softening, releasing, and relaxing. Feel free to remain here for as long as you'd like. Letting the sense of the practice just move through your system. Slowly, and as you're ready, gently invite movement back into your fingertips, your toes. Slowly roll your head from left to right. And on your next inhale, take a nice long good morning stretch. Reach your fingertips up towards the top of the mat. Reach your toe tips down towards the bottom of the mat. Take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, when you're ready, just roll over to the left or right. Take a moment to pause on your side. And then gently press yourself up to find an easy seat. Keeping your eyes closed and just feeling the sense of the practice move through you. Whenever you're ready, you can gently take your hands to heart center, let the palms press against one another. Press your thumbs into your sternum at the same time that you lift your sternum up into your thumbs. Gently bow your head towards your hands. All the love and light in me bows to and honors all of the love and light in each one of you. Namaste.